Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Period Bonus Podcast. We were on a little break, but we're back to talk about video games. It's March 4th, 2026. I'm one of your hosts, Cameron Warren, and I'm joined, as always, by the Pixel Professor, Jacob Price. Jacob, returning from the Hawaiian Islands, the island known as Maui. And its colloquial term, it's Maui. I don't need to say. I went, ate a lot of food, got a lot of sunshine, and spent every single dollar that I have. So now that I'm bankrupt, we had to come back. Yeah, I don't know if you know this, Jake, but the Hawaiian Islands, expensive to vacation.
Did you get some, was it hula pie?
Got some hula pie, ate fresh fish every day. Ate these, they have these like ice cream sandwiches with macadamia nut cookies and chocolate ice cream in them, dude. And I think I probably gained like 8 pounds, just in like.
Nice.
So anyway,
2 per day or something. Great.
I played no video games, whatsoever. I deleted Twitter from my phone for a week.
Nice.
I maybe looked at Instagram a little bit, but my IG algorithm is basically all like weightlifting videos and golf at this point. So like it's not real.
Oh, yeah.
And I try and like get more gaming into the algorithm, but it doesn't seem to show up very well on IG. So I don't know if they've like, I don't know. I probably just click more golf videos. But dude, yeah, tons of stuff happened in games while I was gone, turns out.
Yeah, the game industry chugged along. They
didn't pause waiting for me. We got Pokemon stuff. Jake, what was your reaction to I guess the biggest thing was the new gen Pokemon announcement, right? On Pokemon Day, Winds and Waves. Yeah. Is that right?
Yep, Pokemon Winds and Waves coming. What caught me off guard is it's coming in 2027. So this is going to be the first Pokemon game in a long time that they've allowed to bake in the oven.
Nice.
I think general feedback was that it certainly looks a lot better than Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, which is welcome. But yeah, other than that, I don't know. It's looking to be open world again, so we'll see. I saw somebody joke on Blue Sky. They were like, "Is this Pokemon's Breath of the Wild moment?" Making fun of the fact that that's what everybody expected out of Scarlet and Violet. So we'll see. Let's see. The rest of the Pokemon Presents. Let's see. Fire Red and Leaf Green officially dropped, and they will be compatible with Pokemon Home, which I think is really big for super Pokemon enthusiasts.
Nice. Yeah, and Pokemon Pokopia randomly like 9 and 9s out of 10s across the board. Crazy. Like this random kind of slice of life sim Pokemon game is getting insane reviews.
It's kind of outrageous. I was totally prepared to pass on this game. And then I saw the reviews. I made the mistake of watching some people stream it.
Ooh.
And I was like, yeah, it does look really good. But honestly, I do not have it in me to play a game of that genre right now. So I don't know, maybe I'll pick up like a used physical copy from the local game store around the holiday season or something. Yeah,
I need to figure out cozy gaming. I'll be honest, like I can't do it. I can't sit there. You know, you want it to be like your game that you play every night as your like unwind, kind of relax in the evening game, and I don't really have one, and I never have really been able to have one. Stardew is maybe the only one, but I played Stardew kind of like a dedicated game, not like a cozy game. Like way back when it came out, and my wife and son are currently like 200 hours into some crazy insane playthrough where they have like every item in the game or something stupid, and I'm like, you guys are more gamers than I am, straight up.
I don't know, I just think like cozy games, wholesome games, and this could be a whole separate topic of like those kind of identity markers or genre tags, I feel like are almost the most vague out of all of them, right? Because they want to allude to a specific like mechanical structure of a game. And so we think of like farming sims, right? And a slice of life or management sims as being these kind of cozy games, but I don't know, man. Like I played Discounty. This was a fantastic indie game that came out last year.
Mm-hmm.
That to me is not a cozy game, even though like mechanically, if we were trying to define it, it should count. And I'm sure there are people listening. They're like, nah, Jacob, of course Discounty is like a cozy game. It's like, I don't know, man. Cozy to me feels like it's just too individual to actually function as a genre tag or even like an aesthetic tag. Because at this point, I've played like Dark Souls 3 or Elden Ring so many hours that those games to me, it's muscle memory when I'm playing through them. Or like right now, I'm playing through Pokemon Leaf Green, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, this is not a cozy game, but I could call it a cozy game because of the way that I'm playing it. You know?
I kind of want to dip
Like,
back in to Pokemon again via the nostalgia of either Leaf Green or Fire Red. I'm leaning Fire Red
do it, yeah.
because Charmander is the best starter of all time. So that's not up for
As I've
debate,
been
right?
playing,
Like nobody really debates that.
wow. What?
Jake, what's your favorite
New special
Pokemon?
topic.
What's your favorite Pokemon starter of all time?
Oh, geez, I don't even know if I have an answer. I could pick like my favorite starter from each gen, but my favorite of all time for nostalgia reasons is definitely Bulbasaur. I'll just say that. So
Bulbasaur is
I got
legit.
Leaf Green. You
You-
you get Charmander and Fire Red. We're good.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, it was cool to see all the Pokemon stuff. Obviously, I do dabble in the Pokemon. I'm not hardcore by any means whatsoever. I'm probably one of those millennials who, obviously, like many of us, played like Red and Blue, and then the last Pokemon that I played really seriously, was Silver, which I played emulated on my computer
Okay,
when I was
nice.
like 13 or something, or like 14.
Well, personally, I'm hoping that the Fire Red Leaf Green coming to Switch means that some of the other really good remakes come. Heart Gold and Soul Silver. Those actually, as far as like mainline Pokemon games, I think I don't know. I should have checked this, but I didn't know I'd bring it up. I think as far as like a mainline game, and technically even then it's a remake, it's the highest rated mainline game of
In
Pokemon.
terms of like story and all that.
Well, in terms of Metacritic, sorry, I think it's up
Metacritic.
there
Okay.
next to Arceus. Of course, Pokopia, which I actually think might actually be pronounced Pokopia, which is stupid,
I
and I
guess that makes
disagree
more
with.
sense. Pokopia. Sure. Okay.
No, Pokopia is way better.
Because
I'm sorry.
Pokemon. Pokopia.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know.
I
That's how I read it in my head, but could be wrong.
Anyway, I'm hoping that some of those other older remakes come to Switch, but that's kind of a pipe dream. Playing through Leaf Green has been a lot of fun though. I think as far as like remakes go, it's got to be one of the best remakes ever, I think, of a game.
And then I saw that Game Pass got, what did I see? Cyberpunk is coming to Game Pass. The Witcher 3 is coming
Yeah.
to Game Pass. Tons of like big AAA stuff is coming to Game Pass. It seems like they're making a big push. They're adding a bunch of more kind of meaty AAA things, which kind of makes sense. Like with the new leadership coming in, I think there's probably gonna be a desire for some immediate changes or freshness coming to the brand. I'm curious to see like what other things happen there. I think after all the fallout that we talked about, like with the new leadership and Phil and Sarah Bond and that whole drama,
Yeah.
I'm actually feeling a little bit more hopeful that maybe this isn't just, as some former executives have stated, that she's like a steward to to basically like see the Xbox brand basically disappear.
Right.
I don't know if I believe that that's the case. I think that that's a little bit of a hearsay. I could be totally wrong, but I don't know. I'm feeling a bit more hopeful, as you know, as much hope as one can have with all these
Right.
big brands. But yeah, it's interesting to see some of those big meaty titles like coming to Game Pass that are typically revenue hogs. It's You know, like Witcher 3, for example, like why would you ever put that on Game Pass if you're CD Projekt Red and Cyberpunk?
Yeah.
Those things just continue to be in like the top 10 sales, like all like
Yeah.
for the end of time. So anyway, there's some shaking and there's some there's some stuff going on, I guess, is what I'm saying.
So my question to you, Cameron, is now this was announced today that Sony is not putting Ghost of Yotei and some other game on PC. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah.
But PlayStation is not putting games on PC anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that there's a future in which Xbox stops putting games on PlayStation and Nintendo?
Like goes back the other way. Yeah, that's been some of the hints and conversations that have been taken from that whole speech that Sharma, what's her first name?
Asha Sharma.
Asha
is that her
Sharma.
name?
Yeah, she made it seem like that there's going to be this quote unquote like return to the Xbox brand, and we're going to solidify that, which sounds like, hey, this like go everywhere, all the platforms all the time, everything is an Xbox. That's done.
Yeah.
And we're going back to like, we're going to sell hardware and we're going to have exclusives, and like we're just going back to that model because that was the model that quote unquote worked, which is weird, right? Like it is kind of weird that maybe they would do that, but yeah, I mean, PlayStation doing this, and again, just the caveat, I do work at PlayStation, so I think I have to make that comment every time we talk about PlayStation, but anyway. Yeah, I'm not surprised by this, to be honest, just because I think that there's an inextricable tie between the console and the games way more than there is at Xbox, which I think is to Xbox detriment over the years. This is the thing we've always talked about, is like, how come Xbox, or the thing we used to talk about with Xbox was, hey, they need their big premier AAA premium title that's going to get people to buy the device. And they went away from that strategy because, in my opinion, the reason they went away from that strategy is because they never got the AAA must-buy title on the Xbox One and Xbox Series ever. That's never existed.
Yeah. I think you're right, especially compared to the PS4, right?
100%. Whereas for PlayStation, that did work, and they still continue to do that. I think there's this brief moment where they were like, hey, let's go multi-platform and kind of get these everywhere. And then they probably looked at the numbers and they're like, well, we still need to be able to sell our devices. And at the end of the day, without revealing too much, what I can say is that I think there's an idea out there there was an idea in terms of the business that games should support themselves from a revenue standpoint and not just be drivers to purchase the console. And I think that thinking is being reversed.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
That's just a guess. I don't know that for sure. That's just like hearsay.
Yeah.
But that's my guess.
Yeah. I don't know. Wouldn't it be wild? Sorry, I'm speculative with this, and Cameron's more a little analytical. But would it be wild? Is it totally out of the realm of possibility that Xbox rescinds Halo remake going to PS5?
Yeah, I could absolutely see that. And why not? I mean,
I just wonder, right? Like when Xbox opened the door to releasing some of their first-party games on other platforms, and we had PlayStation not necessarily follow suit, but dabble in that. And now PlayStation has closed that door. To me, it just seems like this is precedent for Xbox to do the exact same thing. So really, I'm just trying to justify my prediction at the beginning of this year that Gears of War E-Day was going to inexplicably be console exclusive.
Yeah.
And I swear every single day that prediction becomes more and more likely.
Yeah, I totally could see it. And then again, I could also see it just totally. I don't like. There's going to be major changes. I don't know exactly what they're all going to be, but I could absolutely see it being like, hey, let's try this again. Let's try and like reconsolidate. And I could see that happening. That obviously like wasn't working well enough, or else they wouldn't have done something new. But doing something new could have also been like, hey, we need to figure out a way to go even bigger and even better than we have. And maybe that is just a failure. And so now they're going to kind of go back hard the other way and see if they can like salvage the pieces of that.
Yeah.
The problem is like, you're screwed, right? Like no one's going to ever trust and buy into the Xbox brand anymore because no one's ever going to be able to be like, well, why would I? No one's going to ever be able to dedicate themselves to the Xbox brand anymore. They'll still maybe buy the device and like buy Game Pass, but that's not going to be like their platform. If you have to choose one platform to dedicate yourself to, no one's ever going to be able to do that again because there's a trust issue now.
Right.
So,
yeah, I guess for Xbox, they really want everybody to believe, and I actually do believe this, that the console wars were over. I still think back often to that business podcast that Phil Spencer and Sarah Bond did on when they first started announcing multi-platform releases.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was one of the really rare, super transparent moments from Xbox, right? I just think, I don't know. Yeah, big changes are coming.
Maybe we'll get one of those podcasts again with Asha Sharma and what's his face?
Matt Booty.
Matt Booty.
Right?
Yeah.
Honestly, do it for some damage control right now because nobody likes Asha. I'm sorry. All the stuff that I see in the gaming social media circles that I'm a part of, it's all immensely negative about her. So just her coming from AI, she was on some podcast and guested and was saying that AI is going to help with our like fertility and birth rates or something wild. And I didn't want to go down that rabbit hole, but I'm like, man, people have a pretty low opinion right now. Maybe damage control wouldn't be so bad, but I don't really know. This is not. I'm totally. Just speculating and spitballing here.
Once again, if they release good video games, no one will care.
I think honestly, that is the reality, isn't it? Is that?
Imagine if they'd made this announcement like the day after like Forza came out and Forza 7 or whatever was like 10 out of 10 Metacritic or something. Like people, you would not be seeing nearly as many like podcasts and articles and all that. It would be like, oh, like we're fine. We got Forza. So anyway, it all goes away if you make great video games. And unfortunately, Xbox is the problem that whenever they do something good, they turn around and step on a rake. And so they can't seem to time those up or stop stepping on rakes. We'll see if that continues. It very well could be that Asha Sharma is this phenomenal leader. And maybe she's a strategic mind and maybe she can figure things out. So I think people saying like she won't be successful because she's not a quote unquote gamer like Phil is short-sighted. I do think it's way more nuanced than people make it out to be. Like, oh, she doesn't know anything about gaming. Like, how could she be successful? It's like, well, it's more nuanced than that, right? Like, I think she very well could be successful without having been historically like a gamer. Although, it is going to take time for her to get up to speed on some of the nuances of how the industry works. But maybe her perspective coming from the outside allows her to see angles and make decisions that somebody who's been entrenched in that industry for a long time like wouldn't be able to make.
Right.
So
yeah, I mean it's definitely wait and see. Xbox has a list of games coming this year that look to be pretty awesome. So you're right. I mean, gamers have this fishbowl memory, dude. As much as and agree, like, and we're we belong to this group of podcasters, content creators, whatever. As much as they spin up all this drama from all these big shifts and changes, dude, you put a shiny brand new game that's got a 90 on Metacritic and everybody's forgotten. Everything's forgiven, right? So,
I mean, even the $30 a month Game Pass, if at the end of the year we're looking at Forza, Gears, Halo, Fable, and whatever the other, and they're all like 8 9s or 9s out of 10 or even some like 10s out of 10s in there, people are going to say like, oh man, it's totally worth it. Yeah. Look, I bought all these games. Like it all worked out. So, well, Jake, enough about that. Let's get into the topic of today's episode, which is Planet of Lana 2. Normally we try and do these ahead of time. We actually got keys for Planet of Lana 2. And so this is technically like an actual review, although the embargo is up as of this morning, so we're a little bit delayed, but we're going to try and get this out quickly for you guys. Recording today, March 4th. Jake, how are we going to break down Planet of Lana 2?
We're going to talk about Planet of Lana 2 and our classic 3 different categories. If you're a longtime listener, you know what's coming up. If you are new to the show and you're listening to hear us talk about Planet of Lana 2, which just came out, this is how we'll talk about it. First category will be the narrative. We'll be talking about the story. Folks, just so you're aware, we're only going to talk about the first little bit of this game. This game is divided up into chapters, and I would say that chapters probably 2 through 3 are up for grabs here. So mild spoilers and just be aware because this is a brand new game. But no, we will not be talking about things that happen late in the game. Next up, we'll be talking about just game design broadly, kind of how the game functions. This game is a sequel, and so it's going to be really hard for us not to make comparisons to the first game as well. I have actually most of my notes are just how it's different than the first one. After that, we'll get a little speculative impact on the industry. We'll zoom out and we'll kind of speculate a little bit about where we feel like Planet of Lana 2, a game like this, of this caliber, where it fits into the video games industry at large. So we will begin with the narrative.
Planet of Lana 2 is the story of Lana and Mui, the animal companion. And in the first game, spoilers, they defeat the alien invasion and run off into the sunset. Did I get that right?
Yep.
So this game is more about like
robots, but yeah, whatever.
This game, so while the first game is like the apocalypse, this is now your standard post-apocalypse, which is a very popular video game setting. That's another great special topic episode, Jake. Post-apocalyptic settings in video games. It's a very popular setting. What's the reasons for that? We could probably have a 2-hour conversation on that.
Side note, I've actually taught a course on apocalyptic literature. So
I took a course in my master's degree called Apocalyptic Religions, which was pretty interesting. Anyway, so that's what this is. This is about the post-apocalypse and some stuff that goes down, some people that they run into, and Lana and Mui solving puzzles and trying to find stuff for a little girl and help her out. And I mean, underlying theme, I think there's definitely environmentalism here, just talking about kind of our impact as a society, like on Earth, and kind of what that means, and like taking care of the planet. And there's that shines through, and it's interesting, like this sort of other human faction that they run into. That faction like is kind of, while they're part of a more like peaceful, like we're trying to kind of live in the world and like respect it, this other faction is trying to like take advantage of all of, you know, the fallout of this alien race that came in the first game. So they explore that a little bit, and then there's like contention between those two. But yeah, overall, I think it did a pretty good job like giving that message like on a basic level. You do have to read between the lines quite a bit though, because there is no explicit dialogue. It's an interesting choice from a story perspective, and I've seen it a few games now where they just use gibberish as for the voices, which is interesting. Like, to me, I'm like, if you're gonna have the voice acting at all, why not just actually say the lines?
Right.
But I could absolutely see like, well, maybe it's just easier to kind of put that in, and then you don't have to actually write a story and be explicit, which writing a story is obviously very difficult. I did feel like maybe like from a narrative perspective, like the baseline I want to give is like the message definitely came through, and the themes like came through very prominently. And again, a game doesn't have to necessarily do this, but just commenting on the narrative, like I kind of wanted to see a bit more written out, because there is a lot of interesting things going on, and you're seeing a lot of interesting things on the screen, but you don't get to explore all that environmental storytelling. Like you see it and it's there visually, but it kind of left me wanting more. Like I wanted to know more and understand more, even if it was just like more snippets that you find around the world or more like sort of side quests or like different things. I wanted more because it's a cool setting, it's a cool world. I feel like I didn't get enough of it though.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's interesting because at the very beginning of the game, it prefaces its story by saying that basically in the very opening, you're going to get some things in a language that you understand, but the rest is like this made up language. And it's pretty much in the story is told visually, right? It's through the character's body language, it's through the intonation of the voices that you hear. And I would say that, like, I mean, this is an extremely linear game. This is, I think, a good thing, and I think it works in the favor of Planet of Lana too. But yeah, right up front, they tell you we want you to interpret this game. We do not want to give you a straightforward narrative. And I understand what you're saying. Like, this can be off-putting. Like, if you want information on a game, especially a game that is so gorgeously detailed and just stunning to look at, and you can tell there is so much information that's being communicated. I understand that frustration. I just think I took it differently. I actually really liked the storytelling here. I like being able, I don't know, I think that kind of directive at the beginning of the game was it just changed my mindset to be like, okay, if I want a story, I got to be looking in all of the places to find this story, right? And so I found it to be pretty engaging. The story here, and again, this is mild spoilers for the first 2 chapters, but essentially Lana is out exploring with Mui and what appears to be like a younger sister.
Yeah.
Which I don't remember the younger sister or the grandfather from the first game, but maybe I'm just misremembering. Maybe I want to say that this is like a found family, because early on Lana will visit a gravesite, and it is highly, assumed or pointed that her parents had passed away.
Right.
Anyways, she's out exploring like these old ruins with this younger girl and with Mui, and the younger girl gets too close to this like radioactive maybe mineral and gets sick from it. And so Lana has to take her back to the home village. She gets a pretty severe scolding.
Mm-hmm.
And her grandpa, who maybe doubles as like the town healer, is like, okay, I know how we can treat this. You need to find these 3 ingredients. And this is the basic template for what's going to happen in the game. You're going to go to these 3 environments. You're going to find these 3 ingredients, and you're supposed to bring them back and create and get this medicine, right? I'm kind of with you though, Cameron. Like, that main story to me is like, okay, we have motives for the characters, and now we have motives for how the game will unfold. But man, I'm infinitely more interested in the environmental storytelling here. One, if you're a longtime listener, you know that I really like this. But I just feel like this game has so much depth in its layers. Like, it's this 2D side-scrolling game. I imagine that every single frame you're looking at has like at least a dozen layers of information, of environment, and it's all moving kind of simultaneously, and you get so much information, and it's just super stunning to look at and to watch.
It is stunning to look at.
Cameron, I'm going to say something really dangerous, okay? And you are an expert in this field, so you can counter, and you can be as honest as you want, okay?
Okay.
I think Planet of Lana 2 has got to be the most Star Wars game for a non-Star Wars game, if that makes sense. Dude, I swear the locations, the audio design, and how people look and talk, this to me feels like a Star Wars planet. This feels like it could be in universe.
Oh.
What do you think?
Interesting.
Am I too off the mark there?
I don't know that I took that away from that. Yeah, I mean, I guess Star Wars is so many things now, right? Like, I don't know. I definitely hear what you're saying. Like, this could be a planet like in a Star Wars setting. I don't know if that makes it Star Wars though. I think you have to have like
lightsabers,
and a blaster sound and an X-wing in the background.
I think that's what I mean. Like, so for example, playing through Planet of Lana 2, I actually thought of The Mandalorian season 1, like all the different locations that they visit and all the different peoples and cultures that they interact with.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, this setting and these people like could be featured in a Mandalorian season 1 episode.
That is true. They definitely have done more of that, and it is cool. Um, and that's some of the best parts actually of like Knights of the Old Republic is when you kind of explore the worlds and like uncover the history. But again, I wanted more of that like written down.
Yeah.
So
Which I think is fair because it's bold to be like, hey, the way we're telling the story is you have to interpret this. We will not give you a 100% straightforward story. It worked for me, it didn't work for you, and I think that's fine.
totally, I think that, and that is, and don't get me wrong, I think I agree with what you're saying on the environmental storytelling is amazing in this, but like, dude, you're seeing so much stuff and you're looking at it and you're looking closely at it and you're like, oh, this is really cool. Like, what is this thing? And like, what is this? And I kind of want to, I don't know. I think I'm just one of those people who wants the artist to tell me what they mean. Well, sorry, not tell me what they mean, but like share. And it's a different type of art, but I think this is part of my personality is, a lot of times like paintings, like visual paintings, like don't resonate deeply with me personally. Like I don't have oftentimes like an emotional reaction to just like a singular image, like a beautiful painting, like I don't know, the Mona Lisa or like, right. If I go to those art museums, like in France, and I've been to Paris and we went, I was like, it just doesn't do much for me. Like I don't have an emotional reaction to it. That's probably because I'm a slot brain, right? And I don't understand art. Um, and I fully own that.
It's okay to have preferences to certain artistic mediums over others. That's okay.
I fully own that. That's not to say I don't look at a painting and respect it and like think it's beautiful or does interesting things. I probably just have like a poorly developed palette when it comes to like painting or like visual art. In this case, it was that where it was like it was beautiful, but I wanted like something written or it didn't need to be like explicit. Again, it could have been just like little tiny things, like what most games do, right? It's not completely environmental storytelling. There's like little thing. Usually, it's in the form of like little pieces of dialogue from random people that you pick up in the world. That's usually kind of how games do that if they don't have an explicitly written story and dialogue.
Right.
And I just kind of wanted that because I thought what they've done here is so cool. It's so interesting. It's like I want more. But I guess I just need to write my own fan fiction. That's what they're telling me.
That's what they're telling you. But yeah, I don't know. So yeah, the storytelling worked for me. I think the last things I want to point out here with narrative is we touched on it. I think this art direction is like unmistakable, right? Like you see a screenshot from this game and you're like, oh, that's Planet of Lana. Like pretty unmistakably so. I loved the music in this game as well too. So I think all those components make for really, really cool. And there are some pretty dang good cinematic kind of chase scenes and things that happen, which actually this happens a lot in Planet of Lana, the first game. In the first game, you have I'm thinking this is pretty deep into it, like 2/3, 3/4 of the way into Planet of Lana. You have these incredibly cinematic moments, right? And I think the studio here has a really good vision for just like direction, like in the cinematic sense of like how you pace a story and how you frame different things that you're looking at.
Yep.
So yeah, I don't know. Kudos to them for that. The story towards the end gets pretty wild, right? I think there were some unexpected twists and turns in the first game. Here in the second game, of course, I'm speaking vaguely, not to spoil, but some delightful twists kind of along the way.
Nice. Let's talk about the game mechanics, the design. Yeah, so this is a puzzle game. I guess 2.5. No, not 2.5. Just 2D. Side scroller. You control platforming and kind of running around with Lana, and then you have Mui that you control with the right stick and can have Mui kind of perform different things, and then you kind of use both of those in tandem to solve puzzles. This is super reminiscent of a game that I don't know if you played this, Jake, but A Boy and His Blob. Have you heard of this?
I have not played this game, but I do know which one you're talking about.
So Boy and His Blob is also like a 2D side scroller where you control Blob and use Blob to solve puzzles. And I was like, this is Boy and His Blob, like 3.
Yeah.
In fact, I wonder if they're like people who worked on Boy and His Blob like worked on this game because it's so reminiscent. Anyway, it's like an older game for the Switch One. It might have even been like on the Wii way back when, but
Yeah.
yeah, I think this works well. I was shocked at how far Mui can travel, and they actually like start out. Your introduction to Mui is like Mui's just completely distanced from Lana, and you kind of have to guide Mui all the way back to him. And it's a great way of introducing you to the idea that like, oh, like Mui can go everywhere. Like,
Yeah.
it's not constrained to just solving the puzzle like in the one screen, which I thought was really innovative and like cool that they were able to figure out like, hey, how do we make this like not just on a single screen, but actually kind of expand our flexibility when it comes to introducing the puzzles. And I thought the puzzles were overall like well done, nothing mind blowing like that I felt like, oh, this is like really ultra satisfying. Just kind of, I don't want to say basic because I think they go beyond that with your ability to use Mui in certain interesting ways, but well done, well executed.
I 100% agree with you. I think they've kind of walked this fine line where, with the puzzles, I mean, I think there's 2 game design aspects here at play. First, it's actually quite a lot of controls and inputs between Lana and Mui. Like, you might move Mui to a specific location, and then you need to interact, but at the same time, you need to be keeping track of what Lana is doing. And there isn't like a whole lot of narrow timing necessarily in a lot of the puzzles, which I think is a good thing because you're handling 2 characters at once. But I was kind of surprised that like, okay, now I need to hit X, now I need to hit B, now I need to hit Mui. And it just seemed like you really had to be paying attention to like your inputs. It almost hits, but I don't think it ever crosses the line of being too much information to process simultaneously. So I think like the really good balancing there in terms of that puzzle design. But yeah, I'm with you in that like having Mui need to be off screen while you do something and then you go back to where Mui is. That I think is always a risk of like, okay, wait, like if not everything to solve the puzzles within the frame, it's really hard to think outside of the box or to convince a player, to teach a player like, hey, the puzzle is bigger than the frame you're looking in. And so I agree with you. I think that they handle that really well. There is some minor stealth in this game as well, and it is basically just one-shot kill, but the checkpoint is like right there, so I was never bothered by it.
Really good checkpointing. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's super generous, right? This game, I feel like it has stealth elements or stealth mechanics are part of solving the puzzles, right? It's not a stealth game by any means, which I actually find to be probably the biggest improvement over the first game. The first game has a weird floaty jump, and there's a lot of weird stealth sections that didn't feel great always. I think they've softened those and they've really amped up the puzzles. And you're right. It's not like the puzzles I think were like breaking my brain, but it felt like they forced me to use my brain and it was satisfying to move on from them. So I just think that they're juggling a lot more moving parts than I think most games when it comes to puzzle design, but they made it all work. Like, I don't think I've been hung up ever playing the game. There definitely been moments where I had to think a little harder to get through a section, but I think they balance that difficulty with just pacing you through and making you progress the game.
Yeah, I think from a design standpoint, it all works well and it's well executed, like what's here on paper. But for me, I did think it was missing like a little bit of video game magic, I think. And a little, what I mean by that is there's a certain like, I don't know, just when some mechanics like come together and it all kind of gels in a way that is just like makes you engage and like want to keep coming back for more. And I guess that's the gameplay loop, right? Which we reference all the time. But yeah, I felt the gameplay loop here was a little bit lacking. And I don't know if that's... And games don't need to have progression. Not every game needs to have like RPG systems or progression systems or like, I don't know, just a whole bunch of different elements in it. I just felt like it was like a teeny bit too bare bones, maybe like a little bit too light, like game light, that kind of kept me from feeling like I could get engaged in what it had to offer. That's not to say it's bad. I'm just making a commentary on like what's there. It's one of those where like I feel hard pressed to think that the mainstream is going to want anything to do with this game. And I'm trying not to make that sound like more negative than it is, but I'd have a hard time like recommending it to somebody who's just on the outskirts of video games, right? Like usually, especially with these small indie projects, if it does something very interesting, something like very specific in a very interesting way, even if it doesn't have all those other bells and whistles, I'll find it really easy to recommend. I think this one, like my commentary is just like, I felt thinking about it, like it felt hard to do that just because there wasn't any of those one things that I felt like really made it jump off the page for a specific type of person.
Right. I think I understand what you mean, right? Like Balatro, I think is a game you could recommend to pretty much anybody who's interested in games, right? But this game, it's like, well, do you like narrative cinematic side-scrolling games? If the answer is yes, and for me, it's like super easy. Yeah, Planet of Lana 2 is going to be amazing for you. If your answer is no, then it's like I can't really convince you to come out of your comfort zone or whatever with whatever genres that you're typically playing.
Yeah, I mean, like I don't know. I think when it comes to 2D, I'm looking for something to like give me. Again, it's just like you got to pick one of those unique like. Is it a unique, super difficult platforming challenge? Is it like that you can solve puzzles in like a variety of different ways? Is that the puzzle solving mechanic is like super unique and, you know, really like goes really deep? Just like one of those mechanical hooks I was looking for and just didn't find it here. Again, that doesn't mean like it's poorly executed. I think it's done well. It was just a little bit basic. So anyway, I just want to make that comment.
Okay. Let's see. The last things I want to say about game design, you can find like collectibles in this game. This is probably my one criticism of Planet of Lana 2. I did not really feel any incentive to look for them. There's one that's like tutorialized kind of at the beginning of the game, but man, I just wanted to see the game. I wanted to do the puzzles. You know, that's like where my heart really was. My heart was in the kind of cinematic nature of Planet of Lana 2. And maybe this is also something that you're kind of skirting about. And like less like going to hunt collectibles is like a super video gamey characteristic, right? This is something like specific to video games. Sure, it might have it like some equivalents where you can watch a movie maybe not exclusively for, but always looking for Easter eggs, right?
Yeah.
And that changes like your experience of watching a movie. In video games, like if there are collectibles available, I'm interested in like, okay, I'll at least try to find some, or I'll be on the lookout for like a wall that looks like I can use a bomb to blow up or whatever, right?
Right.
Playing Planet of Lana 2, man, I wanted to get to the film. Like I really wanted to just
go
through all these different sections and see what it has to offer. Because again, this is probably one of my favorite games visually. I mean, the year's just started, right? We're in March. But this is a standout. But like visually, it's easily one of the biggest standouts, right? And so I was more interested in that than anything else.
I think that's its biggest differentiator is just it's visually very impressive. Like, I mean, it is incredible to look at. And I think rounding out what I'm saying, like your commentary on like the side objectives, like that's just an example. Like you probably could have done something to manipulate the gameplay loop that added something that gave something additive or incentivized you to go after those side things that added like to the main story or the mechanic, or I don't know, like made Mui faster because he's kind of slow sometimes.
No offense, Mui.
So I mean, that was just what it's one of those edges that it's like, it's like when you give me a linear story, I want it to be more like a movie. And then, but if it's not, then give me something mechanically that's a bit more interesting. But if you don't give me something mechanically that's more interesting, then maybe there's something like in the gameplay loop that is a bit more interesting. I just feel like for me, Planet of Lana didn't do any of that. It just kind of did like the B plus on all the elements, but none of them like went up to the A. And that's kind of where it fell off for me. But once again, incredible to look at visually. I mean, just like
Yeah.
majestically built backgrounds and very artistic and great sound design. And so anyway,
Yeah.
it does all those things like really well.
Mhm.
Yep.
All right.
This game
shall we
sucks. That's what I'm saying. No.
move? Cameron hated it. I loved it. Once again.
We're so positive about when we give so it's interesting because I'm struggling to give criticism without saying, right, because like usually criticism like in the games industry is like it's pretty harsh, like the game either sucks or it's the best game you've ever played. And
Right,
so
yeah.
we're maybe a little bit boring in that sense, where I feel like our criticisms are like pretty grounded. Usually it's like, yeah, the game's good, here's some things we didn't like about it, but that doesn't mean that
Right.
the game's bad. So anyway.
No, I get what you mean, and I guess this is breaking the fourth wall a little bit, but this is one of the issues of doing content creation and podcasting is, in the back of your mind that some people will listen to this and they just want a cut and dry. Is this a 10 out of 10? Or
Yeah,
is this
exactly.
A 0 out of 10?
It's
right?
very binary. Yep.
Yep, and that's not our goal here. It really isn't.
Yeah, and totally. And to your point, like having a very straightforward experience that kind of does everything well, like 8 out of 10, like that's amazing.
Yeah, it's a huge triumph.
It's like a huge triumph. It's like a short game. It's a great package. So anyway, I think this is coming also to Game Pass. They just announced as well. So
Yeah, I mean, if you have Game Pass, you should at least give it a try.
well, Jake, let's talk about finally, very quickly, impact on the industry. This is obviously a sequel to Planet of Lana 1, which, there's an implication there that this was very successful. I think, like, we probably don't need to say much on this topic, but just super excited to see, like, a little straightforward linear puzzle game like this with some great art get a sequel and be successful is awesome. And I think that's, like, super admirable. And love to see kind of indie games of this caliber like get sequels, because that tells you that they had success, and that's awesome.
Yeah, I think you're totally right. Obviously, I mean, it's reviewing pretty well. I want to say, like, the last I saw, this is actually through Fantasy Critic League, is that it's got like an 83 on Open Critic. That's fantastic. Like, this is a fantastic game. And so I'm with you. Just the fact that it exists is a testament to, like, okay, for some parts of this industry still function as intended, where if a game is successful, the studio doesn't close and they can make something else. And in this case, they chose to make a sequel. In my opinion, this game is a direct improvement from Planet of Lana from the first game in pretty much every way. I think the stealth and I think the puzzles here are much sharper, much more enjoyable. I think the pacing is better. I think both characters can feel a little slow, but honestly, I think they handle much better. Now, keep in mind, Cameron and I, we played a review copy of this game, right? And so what that also means is that I did run into a few weird movement glitches that I'm assuming are going to be gone, right? By they'll probably come out in the first patch, if not just in the launch version of this game. Our version of the game was slightly different,
right?
Like, for example, like when you are diving into water, I felt like there's a super weird lag as Lana like turns around to dive down. Anyway, so I guess just like when it comes to impact on the industry, like this is good. This is what we want to see. And by and large, like this game, as we mentioned, like isn't for every single gamer under the sun, but for the people who want this type of game, who enjoy this type of game, it seems like a home run for them, and that's the kind of success that we want to see.
Yeah, if you want a linear, simple kind of old school puzzle game, but with some incredible art design, play this. Don't skip it.
Yeah, this is one to play for sure.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's been our episode talking about Planet of Lana 2. If you like the show, please leave us a review on your podcast platform of choice. Helps people find the show and get more people listening. If you want to support us directly, you can do that on patreon.com/PeterCast. You can sign up, get access to the deluxe edition of the podcast, which gets you extended editions of regular episodes and access to special topics, which are Patreon only exclusives. You can also get access to Jake's Indie Impressions, where he has many, many episodes and a lot of content specifically on indie games that he is playing. Also, check out Jake's streaming on twitch.tv/chipdip18. And finally, join the Discord. We're chatting in the Discord all the time. Super active. Lots of great, fantastic people in there talking about video games and all sorts of stuff. You can find a link to that in the description of the video or the podcast. Thank you so much for listening, and have a great night.
Okay.